welcome everybody. Thank you for joining our diversity discussion in partnership with Hall of Flowers. My name is Adrian Farquharson. I am the founder and chief creative officer at Tamiri Magazine, and thank you for joining us today. In our last discussion, we are shifting the focus to athletes who transitioned into the industry and launched their own cannabis brands, and they represent a community that is in great need of adapting cannabis into their lifestyle. Our next panelists are Al Harrington of Viola Brands and Chris Ball of Ball Family Farms. Please welcome our guests.
How y'all doing?
Yo.
How are you doing?
Yeah. What up?
Well, thank you both for
Yeah, give me what up? Yeah, give me 3 seconds.
Just wanted to start by saying, what led you both to want to get into the industry and start both your brands?
Driving fast.
You want to go first, Al?
Yeah, so I'll start it off. Yeah, for me, it started back in 2011. I was playing in Denver for the Nuggets. I just signed a free agent contract there. And I was always a newspaper reader. So, constantly picking up the newspaper, obviously every day, especially after games. But every time I picked up the newspaper, it was always something about cannabis and the benefits of it. And, I started reading, especially being from New Jersey, you know what I'm saying? Where I grew up, the war on drugs was real. I was always taught that cannabis was a gateway drug. So it was something that I obviously didn't think there was no benefits from. And obviously seeing the way people got locked up behind it, you know what I'm saying? Or, seeing people, strung out on drugs and people telling me that cannabis was how they started was something I wanted to stay away from. But towards the end of that season, my grandmother came to see me play. And, she was telling me about all the things that she was suffering from and told me glaucoma is one of the things. I was just reading the newspaper 2 days before that, how cannabis, cured glaucoma is what I read. So I told her about it. At first she was just totally against it. She called it reefer. She's like, I ain't smoking no reefer. There's no way that's going to help me. And, the next day I came home from shoot around and she was in pain again. And, I was just like, look, just give it a try. This will be our secret. She tried it. And, I went to go check on her an hour and a half later after she tried it. And she was downstairs crying, reading her Bible. So, that's what really inspired me to learn as much as I could about cannabis. And eventually, I decided I wanted to be a crusader, you know what I'm saying, to change the perception and the stigma around the cannabis plant.
Absolutely. And Chris, what about you?
Yeah, for me, my story is a little bit different. I put myself through junior college selling cannabis out my backpack, selling weed out my backpack. So, for me, it started very, very early on. I mean, I think I got my first ounce of weed when I was 16, from my cousin Earl. So, I started out in the traditional market, so I made a name for myself there, and cannabis was weed was always something that I could use to make sure that I could put gas in my car, pay for my books, in junior college, pay for my tuition, make sure I had clean Jordans, what I'm saying, when I wanted to go to school or whatever. So it was always just a monetary thing for me. And then, fast forward to when I got, when I found out about the social equity program, I was already, in the business and in the space. If you follow my story, I kind of started trafficking, weed from Vancouver in Canada when I was playing, in the CFL. So, I was already hip, to what it could do for me monetarily. So once I got introduced to the social equity program, I didn't even really believe it. You know what I'm saying? Like I had never, my sights were never set on back then when I was trapping that I would be able to even do this legally. It wasn't even in my brain. That wasn't even like a goal. Even my boys who had, Prop D compliant shops and stuff like that, I didn't even really get hip to them until I got my first grow because I was a middleman all the way before then. You know what I mean? I wasn't growing my own weed or my own cannabis. So once I found out about the social equity program, back late 2017, early 2018, that's when the light bulb went off in my head and was like, yo, I could really do this. Are they telling me I could really do this legally, where I could actually have a brand and actually be selling weed legally? You know what I'm saying? And so once I got hip to that and I was able to acquire my license, that's when, I really started going hard. That's when Ball Family Farms was actually born. And I started going hard because I'm like, I've already got the distribution chain. I've already got, the network. I've been building this network over 15 years. All I got to do is get a license. And now all of my boys, that I've known for the past 10, 15 years, we was trapping together, now have all these Prop B compliant shops. So it was like a no-brainer. Once I got that license in my hand, let me stick my name on the jar, and the rest is history.
Yeah. My next question is to both of you as former NBA and NFL players. How do you both feel now about the league changing their views on cannabis, and some are no longer testing for cannabis?
I mean, it's about time, in my opinion. I think that, when you think about, the opioid use, the addiction, how dangerous, those prescription drugs are compared to using cannabis as an alternative, you know what I'm saying? It's just a no-brainer. And especially when, there's so many players, especially, Black athletes, they actually have been using cannabis for a very long time, and they've been able to continue to function and continue to play at a high level. So I think that, as we look at, what's going on, and the fact that pretty much all major sports are now not testing, and when you look at all major sports, everybody's still playing at a super high level, I think that hopefully we get to the point where, no leagues are testing at all. I think the NFL is still testing. The NBA has just decided to stop testing for the last 2 seasons or whatever. But, I think that the players have done a great job, because there's definitely cannabis use. And like I said, they're still going out there and competing at the highest level possible, and the product looks really good. And, I just think that athletes, like I said, when you think about the alternatives, from the prescription to, even alcohol use, I always tell people, like, I can name 10, 15 players that I know that drank themselves out the league, but, I don't know any that used cannabis and ended up out of the league. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, as we continue to move forward, athletes just need to continue to tell their stories. And I think that, the stigma is definitely, going away.
Yeah, for me, man, just to echo, off of what Al said, and Al, having all that information from the NBA, mine is more, obviously from the NFL to CFL, where it's a contact sport, you know what I'm saying? So I watch plenty of my old teammates and guys, after the game, they didn't want to go in there and take them opioids, or they didn't want to go in there and take them Vicodin pills. So, after the game, they go to the house and just grow one, you know what I mean? And that pain would cease and go away. So I think, I've been around guys been smoking weed and playing ball ever since I can remember, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, playing at the highest level. One of the big examples that, the world knows about is Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams, back in the day, man, Ricky Williams was one of the biggest smokers that I knew. You know what I'm saying? I used to go down to San Diego with him and hang out, and the boy would blow. But, look at all the accomplishments he made, even at the college level. Think about the type of running back he could have been and what the NFL missed out on, because he was banned from the league, you know what I'm saying, and, over cannabis and stuff like that. So I agree with Al 100%, man. It's about time.
Absolutely. Chris, let's talk about the Ball Family Farms name. Is the family involved, and how do they feel with the family name now be aligned with cannabis?
Yeah, absolutely. My family is definitely involved in my business. My brother Charles Ball is my CFO. My little cousin Michael Ball is my facilities manager. My sister Nicole Ball works in operations. My family, if you know my story, man, I was introduced to cannabis at 10 years old by my family. You know what I'm saying? So for me, my family is overjoyed. Cannabis has been a culture thing for us. That was something that everybody smoked during the holidays. My dad smoked it, every night after dinner. I would see all of my family members, even my grandma, during the holidays, barbecues, Thanksgiving, Christmas, everybody was in the backyard blowing one. You know what I mean? So for us, for the family now to have something, with our names on it, and for Ball Family Farms to be respected the way it is in the cannabis industry, my family is super, super proud. Like, there is no stigmatism, when it comes to the Ball name in my family at all.
Absolutely. Really beautiful to hear that as well. Chris, I have another question for you, whereas in regards to like your upbringing, where you said you sold to, make your way through college as well. With you both being CEOs now in industry, how can we remedy this so that the next collegiate athlete doesn't have to go through the same steps that you did?
For me, man, I that's a great question. And, the first thing I want to say is that, there really isn't a remedy. When I think back to being in junior college, it's hard to be a collegiate athlete, man, and have a job. I'm gonna just say that off the bat. A lot of people don't understand how much work you really got to put in at the collegiate level, to be successful, from film study to weight room, to more film study, to games, to traveling, all that kind of stuff. So it's extremely difficult to do that and then go work a full-time job to put yourself through school. So, what I'm trying to do over at Black Family Farms is start some sort of college scholarship program, to where maybe I can pick, 2 or 3 guys, or 2 or 3 students that are collegiate athletes that, actually want to be able to just do their studies and play sports and get to the next level. Because for me, I didn't have that option. I had to go and slang out of my backpack to put myself through school. But as far as a country, or as a state, or I don't really know what can be done besides that. Besides guys like me and Al putting some funds aside so that some of these collegiate athletes, who may have the skills to do it from the street level, but we don't want them to jeopardize themselves, maybe go to jail or maybe catch a case or something like that. Maybe that is the only remedy, is for us to put some scholarship money aside for them for that, but that's about the only thing I really can see.
Okay. And a question to both of you. Let's talk about the importance of celebrities within the cannabis industry. With Viola just bringing on T.I. as a new brand ambassador as well. How do we leverage this and properly do it without losing sight of the brand and the mission that you're setting forth?
I think it's just because what we're doing is authentic, right? Our focus, like our company we're a purpose-driven company. You know what I'm saying? Our purpose is all about uplifting, educating, and empowering, people of color. We stand for social and economic empowerment. We're trying to figure out how do we uplift our people and allow our people to live better lives? How do we rebuild our communities? And, at the end of the day, it's one thing to sell product, but we also want to be able to, continue to raise awareness around these issues, to your point. Like, you're talking about how do we remedy, it's hard to remedy anything without the government, playing its part. So that's why we have to continue to be advocates and continue to lobby, for these laws to change so that we can now operate, these businesses properly, just like any other, any other vertically integrated business, or industry, in the world. And, that's what we're doing, slowly but surely. And, adding people like T.I. and other celebrity influencers, it's not about just, trying to sell product for us. It's all about raising that awareness that this is a form of reparation for our people. You know what I'm saying? If we sit on the sideline and we don't come together, we're going to become customers again. You know what I'm saying? Because like I saw Tubb say all the time, all the industries before cannabis, rice, sugar, cotton, alcohol, lottery, it was black people that was right there that pioneered all those industries, and we have no ownership. So that's the reason why T.I. and the influencers that we work with are so passionate about participating in what we're about, because they all fall in line and their vision is the same. We trying to uplift our people. It's our time. It's been 400 years, and in the Bible it said 400 years. So now it's time for us to get what's ours.
There you go.
Yeah, I believe the way Al is approaching celebrity, in conjunction with the cannabis space is the right way. I've watched a lot of brands, try to bring on celebrities to actually sell product. And in the cannabis space, it don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? Celebrity don't sell weed. Fire weed sells weed. It don't matter who's behind it. So you don't need a celebrity out there hollering your name. What we need these celebrities for is to push these initiatives and to create change at a higher level. You know what I'm saying? So that's what guys like myself, if you notice, Ball Family Farms, we ain't really attached ourselves to celebrities like that besides Al. You know what I'm saying? Like, and Al has been has been a mentor of mine, since 2017, 18, when I found out that I could get a license. I was like, this is the biggest guy, this is the biggest black face in the space. So that's the guy I want to learn from, and that's the guy I want to follow. But as far as like other type of celebrities, like I'm not going to name no names, but there's been a lot of celebrities that have tried to come out with their weed brands and they just fail because they're going about it the wrong way. It ain't about that. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter what your name is. If that weed ain't good in that jar, it's not going to sell. And that's what's beautiful about the cannabis space. It's authentic and it's true.
Sure. Appreciate that. Can you both share your thoughts on how and why athletes should consider using cannabis for recovery? And it can be from personal experience as well.
Shit, to stay away from them opioids and that alcohol, just like Big Fella said. It's obvious. It ain't even no ifs, ands, or buts. It ain't even no confusion about that. It's obvious to stay away from these hard drugs that are being created in these labs, man, and tearing down their bodies. Period.
Definitely. And I mean, just from my experience, like I retired because I couldn't get swelling out of my knee, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like I just was tired of getting it drained and tired of getting PRP shots. And obviously, you know, with them them recommending all the anti-inflammatories that, you know, a couple years before that, for 7 straight years, I took anti-inflammatories, you know, 2 in the morning, 1 at night, just to be able to go out and play at a high level. So, you know, once I retired and I had time to really spend and work on formulations and different things like that, you know, I created my other company called Replay, and you know, it was a CBD line, and you know, I created this topical that, you know, once I started using it, you know, 2 weeks later, the inflammation was out of my knee, and pretty much it's been gone since. And you know, once I was able to get the swelling out, you know, I went and I played in the Big Three, and I went to Australia and played. So, you know, I was able to, you know, almost get my career back. And when you think about professional sports, all the money that they put into these athletes and different things like that, if there could be a product out there that they could use that could give someone another 2 years on their career, it's worth it for everybody. Everybody wins. The league wins, the players win, the teams win. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just believe that, you know, cannabis is a way to, you know, give guys longer careers and obviously just make them feel, you know, allow people to feel better overall. It's quality of life at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? We work so hard for that. And I just feel like cannabis can provide that.
I have another question for you. You launched a project last year about the 100 Black billionaires. How are you working towards that goal, and is it tied to Viola, or is this something that you're doing separately?
It's both. You know, in some cases with Viola, because you know we have another company called Village, right? And Village is our company, is our Black excellence company. So what we did with this company is it's founded by all Black people. Our first initial round of investors was all Black people, and what we've done is we went into these limited licenses markets like Maryland, Missouri, New Jersey, New York, Virginia, and we've applied for licenses. And so far we've won 3 licenses. And what we're doing is we would like to, as we go into these new markets and we tap in with the community, you know, there's already brands that are on the ground there that are real brands, right? But they've just been operating in the Black market. So what we're doing is we're going to them and we're extending them a hand and telling them, look, we want to help you guys get bank accounts. We want to help you guys establish real businesses. And, you know, we've had a lot of success with doing that through our incubator program. So, you know, for us, like I said, it all goes back to, you know, economic empowerment and just trying to give our people an opportunity to participate in this space that, you know, obviously, you know, did our community wrong. You know, 85% of all drug arrests in Black community is still cannabis related. You know what I'm saying? Even with all the things that are going on and all the legalization happening. So we just feel like if we don't do it, nobody will. You know, we know there's a lot of companies that speak on social equity and they have these programs, but they only do it because we make them do it. You know what I'm saying? Because they have to in order to win the license, or they look at it as another opportunity just to get more licenses from Black people who don't know how to actually operate. So we're trying to come at it from a different standpoint. We're trying to educate our people from seed to sale. And like I said, we just really trying to you know, create reparations, you know, ourselves, because they'll never give it to us, right? They don't acknowledge us in this country as being people that founded and built this country when we did. You know what I'm saying? So this is an opportunity for us to take, instead of, you know, waiting for them to actually hand out something for us.
Both your brands worked on a product, Rain, last year. Can you both speak on what brought about that ideation and what is the plan for that product?
You can start, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. The name Rain was originally called Purple Rain. And the reason why we came up with that name is obviously Viola's colors are purple. If you follow Ball Family Farms, you notice that a lot of my strain names, you know, kind of go back to the 80s, and they're nostalgic names of things that inspired me, you know, as a kid, you know, growing up. So it felt right to call it Purple Rain because, for one, you know, Viola's purple, and for two, you know, for Prince Roger Nelson, you know, we all grew up on Prince. You know, he's inspired every single one of us, and we wanted to use it as a way to pay homage, you know, to Mr. Nelson and his estate. And we wanted to kind of do some that had a little bit of swag and oomph to it, you know, so that when we did throw it out, our people, you know, would identify with it immediately, have some nostalgia with it, you know, maybe, you know, light it up and throw on, you know, Purple Rain, the movie, Purple Rain, the song, whatever it is. So that's where the name came from. The process, you know, obviously me and Al met about that probably a year before the public actually saw it. And we decided, you know, when I finally was able to get Al in the room, thank God, shout out to my boy Dustin and Django who put that meeting together with me and Al. Me and Al spoke the same language. Al was kind of familiar with Ball Family Farms at the time and our level of cultivation. Obviously, Al was somebody that I had been seeking from day one. So that partnership was just a match made in heaven for me. It was another dream come to fruition. And we started the process for the pheno hunt to find the perfect strain. Al and his team was with us the whole way through. When we popped the seeds and ran through the pheno hunt, Al and his team, we all chose the pheno together, and the rest is history from there.
And I like to just say one other thing too, like the Purple Rain, there was also a narrative behind it. The one thing I would say between me and Chris, like we're storytellers in regards to how we build our brand. When you look at his Karate Kid, then you got the Last Dragon, you know what I'm saying? So we like to tell stories, and we felt like, naming it Purple Rain was going to be a teaching moment because, ultimately what killed Prince, you know what I'm saying? Opioids, you know what I'm saying? So we felt like we was going to be able to have an opportunity to have a teaching moment as well. But, to his point, the estate shut it down. But, obviously I was, very excited about doing this. I think one of the main reasons for me about, wanting to do this with Chris was, one, to set an example to the industry. You know what I'm saying? That two Black-owned companies can work together and be successful. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have enough of that. A lot of times in our community, I think just because of where we come from, it's always crab in the barrel kind of approach. You know what I'm saying? We're so competitive. You know what I'm saying? But what me and Chris was able to identify at the gate was we realized that this industry is at its infancy stage and the opportunity is enormous. You know what I'm saying? We can never compete with each other. You know what I'm saying? What else is going on out there, around the country? Black people only represent less than 2% of the industry. So we want to have a real stake at this or a real seat at the table. We're going to have to combine forces and come together. And we hope that, with what we did, we inspire other people or other Black-owned companies to do the same thing.
Absolutely.
And don't get it twisted, man. There was some in that year's time, and me and Al can attest to it. There were some times where both of our teams, because of that fact, it kind of felt like, man, is Rain ever going to see the light of day? And sometimes it would literally take me and Al to get on conference calls with both of our teams and go, no, this is how we're doing this.
And scream at them.
Scream at them, like literally, like we got like big fellow called me. I'll call him like, yo, they're tripping again. Let's get on the phone and guide them this way because our community and our culture needs this. You know what I mean? So we were able to get that done. And shout out to Rain, man. It was rated, one of the top 20 strains of 2020 to smoke. So we did our job.
Congrats on that. That's dope. My next question: what does social equity both mean to you, and why is it necessary?
For me, I'll start this out. For me, social equity is a great concept and a great idea. I wouldn't be here without it. You know what I mean? So I'm extremely grateful for the social equity program. But in all honesty, I feel like the program is broken. I don't feel like it's working the way that it should be working right now. For me, I'm a unicorn. You know what I'm saying? I was able to make it through the rigorous licensing process. I was smart enough to go get some people to help me, to guide me through my MEPs and through my inspections and all of that stuff. But for the normal average social equity applicant, if you're social equity, what does that mean? That means you were disenfranchised. That means you're low income. That means you may not have a higher learning of education. You know what I'm saying? I do. You know what I'm saying? I was able to graduate from Berkeley. So my business acumen is a little bit different than majority of these social equity applicants. So when I ran into these hurdles, I understood what I needed to do from a business standpoint to be successful, but most of them don't. And the city, the state, they're not offering anything. They're not offering any kind of assistance for these social equity applicants. I use the metaphor all the time. If Berkeley would have just gave me a scholarship, but didn't give me, a scholarship check, didn't give me housing, my first couple years, didn't give me priority registration, didn't give me free books, didn't give me access to tutors that my scholarship paid for, I would have flunked out of school. I wouldn't have been successful. So the social equity program, although it's allowing people to get a license, there's no assistance there. There's no governmental aid. There's no mentorship program. There's no consulting agency helping these social equity applicants navigate through how to get through the licensing program, how to get through their MEPs, how to get through their inspections, how to go down to DWP and get a power upgrade. There's no assistance for them with their landlords. The city's taking a year to do certain things because they're backed up. Well, where's the aid for these social equity applicants with their landlords? So In theory, great. Love the idea, but we got to do a better job and get these things rectified. Otherwise, these social equity applicants, their businesses will never see the light of day.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you both have any initiatives within your own brands where you want to work with other retired athletes or fitness figures so that we can further speak on like the science of recovery and cannabis?
Yeah, but we don't need them. You know what I'm saying? It would be nice to have them. You know what I mean? But
I agree.
I've done my fair share of trying to include, athletes and different things like that. Some successful, some not. But, I think that what we're doing is bigger than that. You know what I'm saying? We would love to have their support, you know what I mean? Especially if they use the plant and they really have a passion behind it. But for me, I don't have no initiative, to try to include them. No.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like, if it's an athlete that really is about it and is really using the plant, it's got to be authentic, and nowadays, there's so much, hype around the marijuana industry, the cannabis industry about it going federally legal, about all this money and hype and, brand awareness and all that. If it's an athlete coming to the table for that, definitely not interested in that. But if it's really an athlete who's used the plant and, it's got some testimony, that could possibly help somebody else, then I'll be open to it. But I'm not actively going out and seeking it. Like Al said, it's not needed at this point.
Absolutely. What can we expect from both your brands in this year, 2021, moving forward?
We have some expansion going on. We're right now we're in 5 markets. We're in Washington, California, Colorado, where we at, Michigan, and what am I missing? And Oregon. We're about to launch in Oklahoma, Maryland, Missouri, and hopefully Nevada. So we're expanding the brand. We have some other influencers that are joining our team, pushing different initiatives like reform and different things like that. So just continue to just push the envelope, continue to push the brand, and continue to push our narrative, which is, like I said, about inclusion and creating more opportunities for people of color to participate in this space.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for Ball Family Farms, we're actually in the process of expanding out to Oklahoma. So that'll be the next state that we hit. We're doing an expansion here in Los Angeles. We just added another 20,000 square feet to our cultivation facility. So that means we will now be able to service up in the Bay Area. Right now, we're getting all of this success just by servicing down south. So we've got to, we're expanding in that 20,000 square feet to give us more light so that we can get our product up in the Bay, which is extremely important. Putting together a team to expand out to Oklahoma. Got a couple more collabs, coming to the table right now. Pheno hunting for the marathon for Nipsey Hussle's family. We're going to do 2 strains with them called Crenshaw and Slauson. Been in talks, with Jay and Emery over at Monogram. So maybe trying to do a collaboration with them, trying to keep, just keep elevating our Black community and our Black brands. And we got a docu-series that we're going to start shooting. Start pre-production for our docu-series over the next 2 weeks that'll tell the story of Ball Family Farms and my story and how I got started.
Okay, appreciate that. And my last question to you both is, this Wednesday we have a new presidential administration going in place. What would you both like to see coming from that administration as it relates to the cannabis industry?
Decriminalize and opening up banking.
Man, please. I was about to say the same damn things. Please give me a bank account so we can stop hiding cash all over the goddamn city. I can't write no checks. Like, come on, man. Like, please decriminalize the thing and give us a bank account and keep us safe. We targets out here. People know, especially, when you get to the level of Al, I'm not at that level yet, but I'm climbing. People start to notice me out in the street, stuff like that. I don't want nobody trying to follow me home or back to my facility because they know I can't put my money in no bank. So they know I got to be holding cash somewhere. So, that would definitely be something that I'm sure we would all like to see. Keep us safe.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, thank you both. Al, Chris, you both have been great. We had a great discussion about life after sports. Where can people find more information about both your brands?
Mine is at Viola, at Viola, and then me personally is at Al Harrington 3.
Mine is on the web, www.ballfamilyfarms.com, IG at Ball Family Farms, and then at Chris Ball 45 for me personally.
Appreciate it. Thank you both very much for a great conversation and look forward to hearing from you in the future.
Thanks for having me. Peace.
Peace. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning into our diversity discussions with Hall of Flowers today. We've had an amazing lineup of people and speakers. Hope you all took away some valuable insight and look forward to some future collaborations between Mary and Hall of Flowers. Take care.